Andy Mok joins us now. He's a senior research fellow at the Center for China and Globalization. Andy, give us the background on this. What's the aim behind these new payment regulations?
Well, I think we can look at the goal here from two levels. As we just heard, this is about addressing some financial issues. So whether we can think of this as money laundering, inaccurate statistics for various purposes. But more profoundly, I think we also need to understand this as part of this rethinking of economic structure. So not too long ago, the State Council released a so-called opinion that actually has quite broad ramifications, and that's considering data as a factor of production. So in economic theory, we think of land, labor, and capital as the inputs, and sometimes technology as the inputs into economic production. But China has said data is a separate factor of production. And we're seeing that ensuring data quality, data accuracy through better collection methods, of which this is one. And one way we can understand this is it's like water. And we think about how crucial water was to China in that it was vital for agriculture, for people's lives, but it also could be a very destructive force. And I think China has recognized that data is like water and needs to be managed for the good of society. And this is one set of policies to achieve that outcome.
You know, let's stick with your analogy of water. Water in the sense that it's a wave. Last time I was in China, you just don't see people pulling out money or credit cards. I mean, it's the phone. And as you say, this is one of those, from a technological standpoint, I mean, I don't think there's many places in the world where you go, like China, where it's just the phone all the time and these QR codes. Is this just basically the government trying to catch up to a technology that's really kind of come on like a wave?
I think it has, Mike. So there's a couple areas we should pay attention to here. So the Chinese policy playbook historically with anything new, whether this is greater individual freedom to start businesses to, as you're saying, digital payments, is to allow a certain open space to see how it develops. And that almost always leads to more effective regulation. And I think there's a little bit of a misconception in certain parts of the West that the Chinese government is this authoritarian, smothering entity that inhibits innovation. And I think the reality on the ground is that's really not the case. That being said, part of this data as a factor of production is to allow the government to ideally, and I think this is the endpoint that we will see, have real-time granular access to transaction-level data. And this is profound in the ability of the various levels of governments. We think about historically, say in the US, GDP data takes a long time, relatively a long time to produce. There are questions about data definitions, and we can get very, very technical about this. But I think what China is looking to do is essentially turn data into a utility like water. So if you're a consumer, you turn on the faucet, water comes out. If you're a business, there are standards, there are well-defined processes for getting water for your business, if you're a manufacturer, to a certain quality, a certain cost, as well as safety to society. So I think this is what we're witnessing.